Hello, so this one's for the girl that thinks she's lazy, unmotivated, or doesn't have discipline, because that is not who you are. You're just creating that identity about yourself, and I promise you, by the end of this video, we're going to understand this better and we're going to learn how to overcome it. So on that note, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I hope you've been enjoying the content to date. I've been trying to do a mix between obviously lifestyle and educational, and this one's definitely a little bit more educational. So if you're that girl that keeps starting every single Monday and come Thursday, Friday, you have just given up on everything again and you don't know where to start, and you wait till Monday and just go into the fuck it mentality for the remainder of the weekend, you need to listen to this, because this is going to change the way you think. One of the most common things I hear from working with women is, I'm either all in or I'm all out. And this is attached to the all or nothing mindset. And this is something I teach my girls all the time, because it is one of the biggest barriers between you and your goals. And that is why you're staying stuck, okay? The all or nothing mindset essentially means that you're just chasing perfection. So in your head, if you can't do something perfectly, you don't see the point in doing it at all, right? But you have to reflect this back onto everything. So your job, for example, if you go into your workplace for the first day and you're not 100% sure how to do things, you know you're not going to get it perfect. Do you just not show up the next day because you didn't give it 100%, or you didn't know how to give it 100%? No, of course not. If you get a pet for the first time and the first day they run away, or whatever the case might be, and you know you've never had a pet before, you don't know how to deal with them, you don't know how to train them, or you're just going to give the pet away. No, you're going to do your research, you're going to learn more, you're going to understand their personality, you're going to understand them, you're going to understand yourself and learn about yourself more, how to manage the situation. So how come every single time it comes to your goals, you just go, not going to bother because I don't know how to? This is the reason that you're stuck, is because you're not fully ready to make the change or be willing to work through those little imperfections that you may have, when you know that they can be overcome as long as you be patient with yourself. So instead you justify it by putting labels on yourself and changing your identity and telling yourself, I'm just lazy, I can't do this, I'm never going to be fit. The more you repeat these things to yourself, the more you're going to believe them, and the more your behavior and your actions are going to reflect on this as well, right? If you're telling yourself you're lazy, what are you going to do? You're going to chill on the sofa, you're not going to move, you're going to act like somebody that is lazy. Versus if you're somebody that tells themselves, I am going to become fitter, I want to be fitter, and I will actively work towards getting fitter, what are you going to do? You're going to show up as a person who wants to get fitter. So that's the difference. Everything you speak about is so powerful, and you are actually changing the trajectory of your life and also the goals that you're working towards by telling yourself that you will fail before you even start. And here's the truth, you're not lazy, you don't lack discipline, you're just putting too much pressure on yourself, and you're setting expectations that are simply not realistic. So what that means is, I'm going to do this when I'm motivated, or linking motivation to a reason as to why you can't reach your goals, for example. The issue with relying solely on motivation to get to where you want to be is emotions, okay? Motivation is emotion driven. So what that means is, if you're not excited, if you had a bad day of sleep, if somebody has paid you off, whatever is going on in your life, you're going to link that to how you show up that particular day. So it is emotion driven. So if you're in a good mood, you're going to be wanting to do it. You're going to go and get shit done. Do you know what I mean? But if you're in a bad mood, you all of a sudden strip it back completely and do nothing. So that is the issue of motivation. And you're only human. You're going to go through different emotions every single day. As women, we go through different emotions every single freaking minute of the day. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is normal, so you can't rely on that. And then we say, oh, but I don't have discipline. That's fine. You don't need discipline just yet. What you need is actually consistency and setting realistic expectations for yourself. So what that might look like for you is, you're a busy mom, you have kids, you have a full-time job, you have a partner, a family to feed in the evenings, your time is going to be limited. So why on earth are you telling yourself that you are going to work out 7 days a week, hit 15,000 steps every single day, and only eat healthy foods? You know that that's not going to work for you, because it doesn't match your lifestyle. Some nights, the kids are just going to want pizza for dinner, and that means you should be having that pizza too and enjoying that quality time with them and being present in the moment. Sometimes things are going to pop up and you won't be able to make it to the gym straight after work. The school might call, for example, and the kids have to go home early. Kids might get sick. You might get sick. Things will pop up. The weather might prevent you from getting to the gym. So instantly, when this happens and life gets in the way, if you find yourself just giving up altogether, this is a warning sign that you are setting expectations that are not realistic for yourself, and you're being too hard on yourself as well, okay? So what I want you to do instead is break down your day-to-day routine and actually ask yourself, If I was to commit to a health and fitness journey, if I was committing to working towards my goals, how many gym sessions a week is actually realistic for me? How many will make me feel accomplished? How many will make me feel like I'm not overwhelmed and that I still have a little bit of downtime? For most people, that's going to look like 2 or 3 sessions, and that is fine. And the reason being behind that is because you can imagine if you're saying you're going to work out 7 days a week, you might do that for 2 weeks before something pops up. So you've done 14 sessions, amazing. You're absolutely burnt out. You hate the journey. You feel tired all the time, and everything else that comes with that, but you've still completed your 14 sessions, right? But then week 3 hits, you're exhausted, you're burnt out, life got in the way, so you give up altogether, and then you start again down the line, you know? So that consistency isn't there because you just end up giving up. So instead, if we say, let's do 3 workouts a week for the next month, is that more realistic for you? Can you actually commit to 3 workouts a week? Amazing. Throughout the month, that's at least 12 to 15 sessions done. And you've actually started doing this repeatedly and repeating that action and building a good habit into your day-to-day routine. And naturally, that's going to become part of your day-to-day routine, which is going to make it a lot easier for you to commit to everything as well. Because everything that we do is a habit, okay? And habits are formed through repetitive behaviors. So what that means is, like, for example, if you're somebody that has maybe a bad habit of, for example, snacking on the sofa every single night and maybe potentially binging out. This didn't happen overnight. You didn't just decide to, start this habit one night and then you just carried it on. No, it happened once, okay. Then it happened another time. Then you started associating sofa time, chill out time with snacks. So then you started getting snacks every single time you were sitting on the sofa. And that formed a habit. And this is why this is happening. So the same way that we can form different bad habits, we can also form good habits. So for example, what this might look like for you is, if there's a barrier between you going home and you getting to the gym, break the barrier of not going home in between the gym. Drive straight to the gym. Get up in the morning, do it before work. If you know in the evenings you're just not going to do it, you have to know your own energy peaks. But that just makes it more realistic when you actually base it around your lifestyle, because once you get to know yourself and your true identity, once you know what works for you and what doesn't work for you, it's very, very hard to go back to those bad habits once the better ones have been implemented. And essentially what I'm trying to say here is that consistency doesn't mean perfection. The all or nothing mindset does mean perfection, okay? And the thing with consistency is, yes, some things are going to get thrown off and sometimes you're not going to be able to make your 3rd gym session or whatever. But at least you have that routine already built over time through repeating those behaviors and those actions that everything feels more natural. So once a Monday hits, that's a gym day, you end up going to a gym. Wednesday hits, that's a meal prep day, you meal prep your meals. By repeating that action over and over again, you are making it easier for yourself to actually stay committed to this. And that's what you need to do, and that's how we change your identity. So no, the issue is not that you don't have discipline. The issue is not that you're not motivated enough, and the issue is not that you're lazy. The issue is that you're just setting expectations that are just way too out of your reach, rather than stripping it back, slowing down, being more patient with your journey and making it sustainable for your lifestyle. So what consistency might look like for you is 2 to 3 gym sessions a week. Understanding your cycle and the cravings and everything else that rises in around your cycle. Once you start to understand that better, you get less frustrated with your body, why you feel weaker in the gym and around that time, why the scales might jump up, and you're less likely to self-sabotage and give up. You get back on track the next day, the next meal, the next hour, not next Monday or next month. That's a big one that I want you to focus on. One thing I always tell my clients is don't miss something twice. So what that means is if you missed a gym session because you were in a bad mood, you were unmotivated, you just didn't want to go, don't do it twice. Because once it happens, okay, it happens, you're only human, but twice you're allowing it to become a pattern. So once you do it twice, the 3rd time might creep in, the 4th time might creep in, and all of a sudden you stopped that habit that you had been building. So never miss twice is the number 1 rule that will really, really be the game changer for you, okay? And it'll help you build that consistency and break that pattern of you falling into the all or nothing mentality as well. And of course, the final and most important one, stop letting the all or nothing mentality keep you stuck. Okay, because it is the reason that you're stuck. Strip it back. Don't go all in and don't do nothing at all either. Find a happy medium that's realistic for you, that you can commit to, that's sustainable for you. Don't look at what anybody else is doing. Don't look at what your friends are doing. Their lifestyles, their lives are not the same as yours. They have different bodies, they have different lifestyles, they have different commitments, okay? You focus on you and on your commitments and what is realistic for you. And once you reach that point and you can break it down, like, this is how many sessions is realistic for me. This is how many meals a day is realistic for me. This is when it is realistic for me to meal prep or cook or whatever the case is. These types of meals suit me better than this. Don't copy what anybody else is doing. Don't look around you. Focus on you. And I promise you, if you repeat that consistent pattern week in and week out for a couple of months, this will be the first time you will stick to your goals longer than just a couple of weeks, and you will actually see changes. So you will begin to trust your body, trust your mind, trust your relationship with exercise, with food so much more, because you actually sat down and committed to it for once. Okay, so that is your biggest purpose for this week and going into the next couple of months. January is gone. January rush is finished. We are stepping into February now. We really want to lock in. You still have 11 chapters of this year to become the person that you want to become. So just because January didn't go to plan, don't let the rest of the year not go to plan either, okay? And of course, if you're struggling to overcome that mindset and you're just somebody that constantly feels stuck and you need that support system in the background to remind you of what you're trying to achieve, to remind you of what is possible for you and where you can actually get to by just improving your consistency, I will leave my links for my coaching below. Of course, you can reach out, we can book in for a call and have a conversation about you and your lifestyle to make sure it's all tailored to you. Like I said, you shouldn't be doing what anybody else is doing. You shouldn't be copying anybody else. It needs to be suitable for you. And yes, as always, if you like the content, make sure you like, comment if you relate to this at all, and subscribe, because there will be a lot more content coming out over the next couple of months. But I hope this was helpful. I know there's a lot of information to take on, but the number one thing I need you to remember is you're not lazy, you're not motivated, you're not disciplined. You're none of those things. You're attaching this to your identity. What is actually going on is you're just setting expectations that are not realistic for you, okay? So just break it down, slow down, be patient. The results will come.